Members, I'm not happy to speak against this. I wish there was a better path for us, and I am not in any way, shape, or form challenging the pro tem's sincerity or integrity on this issue. I know he's trying to do the right thing. But what we do today is going to impact us tomorrow, and long after I've left this legislature, will impact this floor. So I think we have to do the right thing, and I think we have to get it right the first time. And I get that we thought the investigation would be done by now and conclusions would concur, but we're at the last moment, just like with our budget, at the last second, and we're forced into decisions that I don't think are correct. If you extend an absence, a leave of absence, against the wishes of the member, that's not a leave of absence. That's a suspension. And under Prop 50, it needs to come to this floor, and we all need to vote on it. Now, if given my druthers, I'd like to see the member from Artesia take an extended leave of absence. I think it's in his best interest to have his name cleared, because it puts him above reproach. When he's in his district, he can't be accused of influencing the process. And I think it gives the victims or the accusers the confidence that this is an honest and open and transparent process. But two wrongs don't make a right. And when we force that on him, then let's invoke Prop 50, and perhaps if we talk about doing it on Monday, the Prop 50 aspect, perhaps the pro tem can discuss with the member in detail so that they understand the gravity of the issue. But I cannot force an absentee absence on somebody who hasn't requested it without it coming to a vote of this floor. And giving that authority to rules, I believe, violates Prop 50, because you can put all the lipstick you want on it, but it's still a pig. And in this instance, what we're doing is suspending them, and we're not having the vote on the floor. Someday, on this floor, maybe it may not be Republican majority, maybe it's a whole new party in majority, but Dems aren't the supermajority, and you will be the minority, and these rules that we put in place will either protect you or put you at risk. Members, let's not rush into this. Let's give the pro tem the weekend, and let's do it right. You know, we wouldn't have a vote on this floor when we had 3 senators who ran afoul of the law. And I wanted to have a vote to expel them, because the only remedy we had was to censure or expel. And this floor decided that they were going to put Prop 50 on the ballot so that you would have the flexibility to suspend a member with or without pay. And now you're shirking your responsibility, and you're changing the rules yet again by forcing an extended leave of absence on a member who has not requested it. Call it what it is, have the proper vote, and quit gaming the system. This is why victims are afraid to come forward. This is why we have 2 legislators who in the paper said that they don't want to let their names out, although they feel sexually harassed, because the other member is too powerful and they couldn't possibly stand up. We must be transparent. We must be clear in our process for the victims and for those being accused. So I'm asking that you not vote for this, that we go back and try to work with the member to get them to request an extended leave of absence, or we have a Prop 50 vote for suspension. But if we start gaming the system again, like we did when I tried to expel, tried to have a vote to expel, and there was no guarantee that those members would be expelled, and there's no guarantee that this member will be suspended. But let's not game the system when so much is at risk. The world is watching us today, and it's not about us. We're sending a signal. Are we going to be true to those who are harassed? Are we going to give them a voice? And this is part of that process. And I think the fairest way to go is for that member to ask for an extended stay. We grant it so that they get a fair hearing, but more importantly, the victims get a fair hearing, or the accusers get a fair hearing. So for those reasons, I will not be supporting this today. I think that we're better than this. We didn't come to Sacramento to change the rules and game the system to make it convenient. We came here to make it better for all Californians. And I think there's only one path in doing that. So members, I urge a no vote on this. You know, sometimes I get pretty fired up, and perhaps I didn't articulate my argument well enough, or perhaps I spoke too quickly. I'm not advocating that we have a vote to expel the member. My point was, when we had a vote that I brought forward on 3 members that were indicted or found guilty on felony charges, I asked that we have a vote to expel them. I was denied that vote on this floor and was never allowed to come to the floor, and the answer was to put Prop 50 on the ballot that allowed suspension for times like this. Now, so let's just have clarity. I'm not asking for that he be expelled. And my first choice is that he asks for the extended leave of absence. But to force a leave of absence on him is suspension. And the rule for suspension is that we vote for it on the floor. We don't advocate that authority to Rules Committee. We do it in the public's eye, where everyone can participate and everyone has a voice. See, this isn't about keeping him away from the workplace. This is about who makes that decision, whether we as members have a right to have a say on it, or whether a Rules Committee with just 5 members gets to make those choices without all the input from the body. Now, we've had, I'm going to say robust. I don't think this is a contentious debate. It's just a difference of opinions that are being shared and all good opinions coming together. But we'll miss this robust discussion if it goes to a committee over the future of somebody who has not asked for that leave of absence. So if we're going to forcibly give somebody a leave of absence, we should do it under the law, and that would be Prop 50, and that would be a suspension vote. But again, my choice is that the member from Artesia come to his senses and abide by exactly what he said on this floor. He said that he was going to take a leave of absence so he could not be accused of interfering with the process. Yet if he comes back before that process is finished, that's exactly what the accusations are going to be. He's not only hurting himself, but he's hurting every member on this floor. And what I'm advocating for is that if he knows that we're serious enough to have a vote to suspend him, not expel him, simply suspend him to the end of the investigation, he may come to his senses and request it. Then it would be appropriate for the Rules Committee to do it. But we're not asking him, we're telling him. And if we're going to force a member to take a leave of absence, call it what it is, and allow the floor to vote on it. And that's the difference. For my colleague from Riverside, that's the difference. I don't believe the Rules Committee under Prop 50 was ever meant to be able to force a member to be suspended, whether you call it a leave of absence or not, against their will without a floor vote in support of it. So I just want to make sure we have that clarity, that I know the notion of me wanting to expel him was brought on. That's not the case at all. And the other thing is, I just want to make sure that we don't abdicate our authority under Prop 50 to suspend a member and give it to the Rules Committee, where it doesn't have the same robust debate. And, you know, a lot of different opinions today. I think that we're all going in the same direction. We want to ensure that the process being used is not influenced or doesn't look or perceived as being influenced by a member who's being investigated. And the only way we get that is if that member stays in their district. So again, I would ask that we give the pro tem the weekend to talk sense into the member from Artesia, and if he chooses not to, then I think that we need to bring it to a vote to suspend him, because that's what we're really talking about, suspension, not a leave of absence. A leave of absence is when I request it and I get it. When you send me home, you're suspending me. Let's be clear. And now I know that we don't want to do that suspension vote. I get it. But I think in fairness to everybody here, in fairness to all those accusers, all those victims, future victims, if they are going to respect this process, then we have to adhere to the process and not change the rules and say the Rules Committee gets to do whatever they want and we don't get to have say. I urge a no vote.